Joining me live now is political analyst Joe Siracusa. Joe, as always, appreciate your time today. As we just heard on air, a 3,000-strong US military contingent have arrived in Kabul. The situation is quite concerning.
Oh, yes, indeed it is. Look, the American war is over, but the war is going on. And it's going to be a very short period of time before the Taliban are all over the place. Kabul's in panic mode, and that's why we sent 3,000 troops there, 3 battalions. And look, I've just listened very carefully to the Afghan ambassador in the UN, and she says the country has been abandoned by its American friends and NATO friends and others. They feel abandonment. Psychologically, they are defeated. They are people in the Ghazni government who are maneuvering to cut some kind of a deal with the Taliban. And keep in mind, Kabul is about the size of Sydney or Melbourne for nearly 5 million people, and it's the last place. It's the concentration of population, and it's also a spectacular failure. You know, I've been listening to a commentary right around the world, and people cannot understand why we couldn't keep a residual number of troops there to keep things under control. And we're hearing terrible stories from the provinces. The Taliban are going from door to door. They're killing the men. They're taking their wives as forcing them as brides to Taliban soldiers. And there's all kinds of human rights things going on. And it just drives me crazy, Sam, when we have crocodile tears all around the world about human rights. And we see these abuses going on, and they're going to go on more and more in Afghanistan. And we are powerless to do anything about it. But worse than that, we haven't said anything. And of course, Joe Biden is MIA. He's missing in action. He's at Camp David instead of being in the White House, telling us what's going on. So, look, this is my third abandoned country in my lifetime. There was Vietnam in '75, and there was Taiwan in 1979, and then there was this one. And they all get worse, and they get ugly. And I was hoping we could avoid the last picture of a helicopter on a roof, but we're going to have worse than that when this comes to pass.
Joe, the other big news from the week, of course, North Korea has threatened to boost its nuclear program.
Look, Sam, North Korea is the real deal. You know, they don't have they don't use rhetoric there. You know, good communists usually mean what they say. They're talking about preemptive war, and they're scaring all kinds of people. And look, foreign policy analysts around the world that North Korea and their nuclear weapons are the most important issue in the world today. It's a very dangerous place. And North Korea, of course, is weathering the storm of coronavirus. It's on the verge of famine again. And I'm sure there's a lot of political back and forth within the North Korean establishment. Chairman Kim ain't the whole boss. His sister's got a lot to say here. And, you know it's serious because they're not answering the hotline. They reestablished a hotline recently, just in case, and they've closed down the hotline. There's no communication with the ninth nuclear power of the United States, and that's very, very worrying because anything can happen there. And they're worried about these exercises. They think they've been ambushed on this. They were hoping the South Koreans could talk the Americans down on the exercises, and they see the exercises as a dress rehearsal for taking over North Korea. Of course, South Korea and America argue that it's just a defensive exercise. And of course, that's nonsense. It is a dress rehearsal. And the one thing that the North Koreans worry about every night when they go to bed, Sam, is regime change. They're worried they're not going to be there in the morning.